Imagine, just imagine, having to make this 911 call in the middle of the night.
County Police has
reporting a collapse in a garage.
In 77 Coleman Avenue.
Ma'am, the operator got anyone injured.
Oh my God. Collapsed in the building. A bunch of us are in the garage, but we cannot get out. And we're going back up to our apartment, but some of the hallways are blocked and there's water coming in through the bottom, through the garage.
Okay, so you said that the entire roof has collapsed on top of the building?
We don't know exactly.
Okay, if you don't know what's going on, then you need to stay somewhere where you are safe, okay?
Well,
don't go walking.
Don't
go walking all over the building if the roof has collapsed. We have help on the way there already.
We're going back to our apartment, but there are a lot of people inside the building.
That was my voice you heard making the 911 call. Many of you know me. I'm Ofi Osin-Cohen. This summer, on June 23rd, I was the Women's Philanthropy Director, a Federation professional with over 20 years of experience. But the next day, on June 24th, suddenly, I became a recipient. I know what I said when I made that 911 call, but I had absolutely no idea what the impact was going to be on me and so many others. By now, you know what happened at the Champlain Tower South, so close to here. My husband and I were the lucky ones. We were rescued from our balcony because there was no other way out. Unfortunately, 98 other people, friends, neighbors, members of families we know and love, lost their lives sleeping in their beds. May their memory be for a blessing. The pain of this horrific nightmare continues for so many families. I know some of you here today lost loved ones, and I extend to you my heartfelt condolences. For me, I lost everything I ever owned, except for the clothes that I was wearing that night, which was basically pajamas. Thanks to my Federation training over the years of dealing with difficult situations, I had the sense to grab my wallet, my phone, my keys, and even a flashlight because the power was already out as we headed out the door. That was it. At that point, we had no idea what had happened, and I figured I'd be back the next day. The notion that I was never going to return to my home again was extremely foreign to me and the farthest thing from my mind. What does it mean to lose everything you have ever owned? How do you rebuild? Where do you start? People ask me, what can I do? What do you need? I didn't know how to answer them. The truth is, we needed everything. That was really hard for me to say, and especially knowing that so many had lost their lives. Our Miami community and from across this country reached out and embraced us in ways that I knew was possible. I've seen it before because of my career. And yet, all of a sudden, I felt it firsthand as a recipient. A very strange word for me to use to describe myself. I would never have imagined myself being in this type of situation and needing help. I've spent the bulk of my career as a therapist or a fundraiser trying to help others. Friends, family, professionals, volunteers, people I haven't heard from in years, and total strangers reached out to us in ways small and large. There is no way anybody gets through a tragedy like this alone. The numerous things made available to us, like homes to stay in, meals for weeks, trauma counselors, case managers, gift cards, emergency funds, anonymous Shabbat flowers for over a month, the offering of kitchen items, clothing, furniture, you name it. It was overwhelming and beyond amazing. Our federation was prepared to step in a moment's notice. That's what we do. We work tirelessly behind the scenes. Federation has earned the trust, the reputation, knows what skills are needed, has developed the necessary relationships, and has the systems in place to get things done. We call it the infrastructure. And I know, nobody likes to talk about infrastructure. It's not sexy, but it is the infrastructure that makes things happen. Here's just one example. Over $1 million was raised by 3 young people right after the collapse in a GoFundMe page. They had the best of intentions, but then they realized they really had no idea how they were going to distribute that money. They ended up partnering with our federation to make sure that those dollars end up in the hands of those who were most in need. Jewish Community Services, our federation's primary social service beneficiary agency, is the organization in this community leading the way, appointed by the county to handle the case management and services for all the survivors and the families, Jewish or not, because they have earned the respect and have the know-how. They are now a lifeline to so many of us, with weekly support groups, updates, briefings, social workers, emergency assistance, and so much more. In addition, our federation chaplains were there for us to provide us with spiritual comfort. During these past few months, I have often thought about our collective ancestors who left their homeland, sometimes more than once, and took with them nothing. They usually did not know the language of the new country they found themselves in. They certainly didn't have Google, and they didn't have Amazon Prime to order new things from, and they were very limited in their resources. And yet, many of them survived. The truth is, many of them actually thrived, and I take inspiration for them and think about them very often. I have learned over the years that one cannot take away another person's pain, no matter what the circumstances are. But we can be there for each other so that, God forbid, no one should suffer alone. That's what it means to me to be a community. And that's what Federation is all about. Creating a vibrant, strong, caring community. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we all need community. But Federation is not an abstract thing. It's real. It's made up of people like all of you. And it's your leadership, your willingness to give your time and your resources, your involvement that makes this machine happen. When the need arises, like it did for me in my backyard, or in Israel, or anywhere around the globe, our Federation is ready, willing, and able to respond because of your support. And here's the thing, God forbid it's ever going to be you in need, and I hope it never is. The Federation is going to be there for you. Trust me, I know, it was there for me. And while we lost everything, I tried not to lose myself. I still wanted to be a giver. I actually made a list of things that I could give. A hug, a call, a word of encouragement, an inspiration, something. Whatever I could. And I made a donation to the actual collapse itself. Why, you might ask? Because you see, we are all givers and receivers and givers, and sometimes even at the same time. When I was asked if I would speak today, I agreed for one reason. I am very proud and blessed to work as a Federation professional and to be a Lion of Judah. And yes, this is a replacement pin. That's why I couldn't say no. So thank you, Toda Rabah, gracias, for being there for me and so many others, whenever and wherever there is a need. Together, I swore I wasn't going to cry. Together, we truly do care for those in need and strengthen Jewish life. And you never know what is going to be you. Thank you.